Welcome to the Day Clean Devotion Queen podcast. Each week, our podcast episodes breathe life into selected themes from the DDQ Meditation Journal. Hosted by our founder, Najma Thomas, we engage in heartfelt discussions with a diverse roster of inspirational Queen Sisters. We explore their unique perspectives, uncover the wisdoms shaped by their journeys, and celebrate the trials and victories along the way. Together, we are creating a woe manifestation space where conversation meets examination and sparks transformation.
Welcome back to the Day Clean Devotion Queen podcast. This is a special follow-up session. Remember when we talked earlier this summer? Where were we? We were on camera, actually. We did this through Zoom, and I said, I'm going to come to your space. And come to your, so here I am, y'all. If you are enjoying this lusciousness through Spotify or YouTube, you see this beauty, Kathryn Thompson. She is our returning featured guest for today. Kathryn, you've got a beautiful blue statue lady. Is she a statue? She's a figurine, and she's holding a star, which is my name, by the way. Najma means star. So you gotta tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I actually got this from the Civil War Museum when I went to go visit from my previous job. And it was actually made in Africa. I can't remember which country. But they had several things in there that were actually made by African artisans.
Yeah.
So I got some little boxes that had like a mudcloth design.
Oh,
And I got this.
she's beautiful.
Yeah, it's actually a Christmas tree topper.
Of course, you know we're in the season for celebration,
I know.
and one of my favorite holidays in the world, Christmas time.
And blue's my favorite color, so I just looked at that. I was like, I gotta have it.
It's stunning and goes with this beautiful drawing behind you, this art piece of artwork. Now, what is this? This is,
That is, but
I don't know.
anything
It's
blue,
gorgeous.
if you add blue to your space, it calms you down.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
So we're we're going to talk about celebration and energy and using colors managed to manifest the kind. So you're saying that, does it bring in anything else?
Yeah, so blue, of course, represents your throat chakra. So the kitchen is always considered the heart of the home where you want to be having lots of conversations and gatherings, maybe if you're not as antisocial as I am.
You are not.
But yeah, it's just a very communicative, calming energy. So I think the blue balances out like the gray, black and white in here. So it's kind of a little lively, but then I'm going to bring in like calm elements. And then of course, green represents your heart chakra.
And that's a real live tree. She's beautiful. Look at
That's my
her.
fiddle leaf fig that I love.
Fiddle leaf
So they actually bring really good energy into a space, and a snake plant will absorb all of the negative energy in a space. I actually have one of those in my bedroom and have one on the sink actually. Yeah, a little one. Yeah.
So you just had a whole afternoon
I did.
of managing energy. We're gonna get to celebration in a minute, but tell me how that went. How do you do so many sessions back to back to back?
So that was my first time volunteering with the Aquarium Bookshop to raise money for the Richmond SPCA. And we did rapid fire Reiki sessions. So we're doing them in 15 minutes, and they're like back to back. I went to bed early.
Okay.
I did not play around. I woke up this morning and I sat in silence and I grounded myself because I had no idea how many customers I was going to have. I actually ended up having 7. So on a normal day, if I were doing Reiki full time, I would probably max do 4 people, and I would probably have like an hour or so in between those. But and have the opportunity today.
Yeah.
So I did have a couple of breaks where I could sit and just close my eyes and just keep grounding myself down. I also had selenite and black tourmaline in my pockets, so nothing stuck to me from anybody that I was working on.
Tell us about this process, a little bit about Reiki. I would imagine a couple of our listeners are probably not as familiar with it, right?
Mhm.
So how did you come to it, and what is it for you?
So Reiki is a healing art that started with the Japanese culture.
Okay.
I came to it was divorce. Divorce had me face down, and I really don't know how I found my Reiki master, but I found her some kind of way. And I'd never tried it before, and just the ability to lift the stress and the depression from my body by just being a regular customer. I was like, well, I need to do this too.
Yeah.
Because I've always had like gifts where I have prophetic or psychic dreams. I've heard spirits since I was a child. And I was just like, I'm supposed to do this. And I volunteered today. If I had not been volunteering, I would have made $700.
Wow.
But Reiki is the one thing I'll do for free.
Huh?
So I'm like so over the moon happy.
Because you're helping people
Yeah.
manage their energy.
Yeah.
In such an interesting time where there's all kinds of, have you been feeling this, the crazy, the chaotic energy
Yes.
around us? I bet it's magnified where you are.
Yeah, as an empath, it gets overwhelming and I'll just burst into tears at times. So the bird feeders, of course, are a big help. But every morning I'm like grounding my energy down 'cause as an empath. It's a lot. I know a lot of people are just completely oblivious. My aunt being one of them. She was like, I just can't watch the news. And I'm
Yeah.
like, Dee Dee, he's doing so much stuff. Not even on a daily basis, on an hourly basis. It doesn't pay you to not be in the know at least a little bit of the executive orders that are just rolling out from the Black Sharpie. Because I think if you're just completely in the dark, you don't have time to prepare for anything.
Then you're just being reactive.
But I don't know, as an empath, I'm really feeling how it's affecting the collective as a whole.
Yeah.
And I've just been having so much problems trying to be social.
Yeah.
I find myself getting angry at humanity.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to, deal with that. Of course, I have my own set of practitioners that I use outside of myself. So I went and had an energy clearing with a shamanic colleague of mine. But Reiki is amazing. So I was telling you about the customer that I had today.
Yeah.
That she closed her eyes and said all she saw was blackness. And she only had a 15-minute session with me. And I'm just using my intuition because I can literally feel in my hands where to stay in your body, where the energy center is blocked, where the energy is releasing. I can feel all that with my hands. And I just stayed at her heart chakra and I just kept going up because you can only do so much work in a 15-minute session. So I was focusing on upper chakras mostly with those.
Okay.
And she said when she opened her eyes, she just saw a burst of colors. And she said, I could see every color of the rainbow when you were done. And she just started crying. So you only get that if because we're energetic beings.
Absolutely.
It's scientific.
We're all energy, right?
And if you keep ignoring the fact that you're energy, what are you gonna do?
I don't know. Yes, I don't know because I manage my energy very carefully. I cannot imagine not having a practice where you understand that you are energy and that you're interacting with different energies and that at different times of different phases of the moon, different times of the season, that energy, that flow can get blocked.
But you, with having a farm, you're working directly with the earth.
Always healing, like
Yes.
constantly healing,
Exactly.
releasing stuff right back to
And she absorbs it.
Mother Earth. Thank you so much. Just such a beautiful relationship. She gives far more than I. It's very imbalanced, but I think that Mama Earth understands.
Yeah.
But that grounding is essential. I think in the Black community there is, you probably talk about this a lot on your social media, maybe a reluctance to make connections between things like Reiki or anything outside of the traditional Baptist faith. Folks will think, oh, what's that? But I don't know
Don't
that
forget
that's
apostolic and Pentecostal too.
the whole nine, right? But it's interesting because, I'm in the Gullah Geechee community back home. Oh, y'all, by the way, I'm in my dad's hometown, VA, stand up. 804, stand up. But when I'm back home in the Low Country, in the SC Low Country, I'm in the heart of the Gullah Geechee community.
Yeah.
And for many,
so lucky.
I know, I really am. Because for many members of the Gullah Geechee community, there's not this disconnect between faith traditions and energy healing practices and connection and communing with Mother Earth and understanding the natural elements. It's all one and the same. And it's not this big leap. And I kind of take that for granted. And then I listen to some of your postings. I'm like, oh yeah, everybody not down here, literally hooked in like the what's the blue people, avatars, we connect to the source.
Yeah.
Literally
Right.
connect to the source.
I mean, I can channel if I want to. I had one client today and she's like, I've been having pain in my arms, shoulders, everywhere. And I said, okay, I'll focus on that for 15 minutes. And I was like, I need a lightning bolt to shoot through me, to shoot through her veins, and circulation come into alignment. When she got up, she said, I said, how are you feeling? She said, much less pain. You don't know that I'm channeling the energy of a lightning bolt, but I'm going to be able to pull it from wherever I need, to pull it in because I've had shamanic training, so I have a mesa. So in my South Lodge, I have the energy of Mount Kilimanjaro and the serpent. So that's nothing but fire and transformation, right? Shedding old things. I'll pull that energy in so fast. Yeah. And my family is just like, what happened to you? Jesus is the only way, truth, and the only light, and you're going to hell. And so I don't know. It's like Jesus is the master alchemist. And my sister was like, he's a what?
Alchemist, baby.
I said, master alchemist. I read that he walked on water personally.
Turning all kinds of things into all kinds of other things as needed. It's not a big disconnect.
No.
But you do have to have a willingness to receive and to think beyond sort of what has been presented to you as the only kind of truth, maybe.
Yeah, and then that bothers me too, because I feel sad for the diaspora, because Christianity was used to control and torment us. And I'm like, I had my own awakening, and I was literally, I went to church on a Sunday. I was in a Pentecostal mixed congregation church. And I was happy with the church. I wasn't particularly upset or anything. And I heard that voice say, hey girl, this is your last Sunday here. We're going on a detour.
Okay.
I was like, oh. So I started looking around at all the people, and I was like, I don't know where I'm about to go. By the third day, I was freaking out because I didn't know anything but Christianity. And so I was like, well, what am I supposed to do now? Where am I going? And the exact moment I'm about to completely freak out, I'm getting an email. Back then it was the Chrysalis Center.
I remember the
from my
Chrysalis
friends
Center.
there saying, Kathryn, we want you in the Spiritual Past program. It's a 6-month program where you explore different spiritual practices from around the world. Best experience ever. So I actually have some Tibetan prayer flags up there on the refrigerator that I was going to write prayers on and hang them in the tree. But that practice has stuck with me. I took Tibetan prayer flags down to Charleston because Jemiah came to me in a dream and she was like, it's time for you to work with me now. So I don't know how people feel about that with the Orisha training. I mean, she literally just came to me in a dream. I took my little prayer flags, and the day I wrote my prayers on the things, and I knew I needed 7 pennies. I had 6 to go to the ocean, and I was like, oh. I walked out of my hotel room, looked down, and there was 1 penny.
Your 7th penny. For you.
I ran to the ocean for prayers. And she's been a very comforting deity, Orisha, whatever you want to call her, to work with. I love that energy, and it's an energy of abundance because she's over the ocean. So there's nothing lacking there.
Yeah. Well, you know, we have, if you look at the African diaspora, we have been alchemists ourselves. Our ancestors have been. They took spirituality, they took faith practices wherever they were and mixed them up to wherever they needed to be for survival and now to thrive, and have left us with this bounty of options. Like, you do not have to stay in any particular religious box or any particular spiritual box. There, you can do your own spiritual alchemy.
Yes.
Because if you look at one Orisha or one deity, it's a different side of another practice somewhere in the diaspora, and that's all connectivity. It's like when you're speaking Gullah Geechee and you go to the Caribbean and they hear Gullah Geechee, and they're like, wait a minute, you sound like us. It's like, oh, it's just a different side of the same mother tongue.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing. And I think, you know, we're sometimes afraid to explore new things or think. I mean, religion can be very selfish. You know, the religion that we have been, by and large, engaged with can be very singular, very, you know, you can't step outside and explore. But I feel like anything worth worshiping should stand up to scrutiny. Like, you should be able to question and investigate and look beyond. And if it's worth worshiping, it will stand up to scrutiny. Like, it will be every time.
Yeah.
It'll hold up. It'll hold up under scrutiny. Go look.
Yeah. When I would go do breathwork sessions, Jesus and Yemaya would be there on either side. And I'm like, okay, these are my parents. We're just gonna call them my parents. But with Christianity, I was more so like living in fear of the God. I was terrified because I was like, there's nothing I can do to get me into heaven. I'm just going to be going to hell.
It's over for me.
And then, you know, you sit down and think about it, and I'm like, well, we're living in hell right now with this man in this office, and why we got to go burn forever? Who is sending us to a lake of fire? It just starts to sound a little bit crazy. And why are you going to send people across the world who's never even heard of you just because of where they were born into eternal fire? Why would you do that? They have their own practices. They have their own name for God.
Right. More than one way to call God.
I dated a little Arab last year, and I loved his little dedication to his prayers. I didn't know what he was saying, but I thought it was the most beautiful thing. And he was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning to pray. I was like, you go.
There you go.
That's dedication. And I just really admired that about him.
So many different paths. And we miss out. I think we miss out on the fullness of the possibility of spirituality when you just stick to one rigid, this is the only way you can ever connect to a higher power. Well, what kind of tiny higher power is that?
Right.
That can only have one name, one gender, and one way of you acting. That sounds like a human, actually. That does not sound like a God.
True. And then growing up apostolic, I saw so much poverty. So I'm like, no one's getting anywhere. And it's like, I thought to myself as an adult, why am I praying these pitiful prayers?
Sad.
I need to be commanding the energy. That was a huge mind shift. So now I'll say, I am, I have, everything's present tense because you have to learn how to speak. Whereas if I was in church, oh God, please help me. I can't pay the rent. No, I can pay the rent and your rent too if I need to. And I'm constantly I love doing candle magic. So I'll keep an abundance candle going and a protection candle going. Those, I try not to let those go out. But I've gotten to be a pretty skilled practitioner of candle magic.
And you make candles.
I do.
Put some black girl magic in those.
Yeah.
How does this relate to our theme of celebration? How do you what are some of your rituals that are connected to this work and celebration?
So my celebration is my great aunt was a hoodoo practitioner.
Okay.
And so my mom and my aunt have memories of growing up a child. She put cascarilla, they were calling it white powder, but I, figured out cascarilla in their shoes when they were being bullied. And so my mother won't talk about it at all. My aunt will talk about her memories, but she was like, well, Kathryn, that was evil. I'm like, oh, Lord. So
Isn't it funny? I'm sorry, how some things are spiritual and some things are superstitious, or it depends on what side of the world it came from. It gets to be a religion versus it's a superstition.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that so many of the superstitious things are connected to Black and brown people.
Yeah. So while we're on the pause, I watched Jaimin Hunsu's documentary, The Story of Voodoo, and it's my favorite documentary.
Oh, we'll have to drop that link there.
I love it.
Okay.
So he was like, the West has told the story of our faith and demonized it and made it so evil. And he said, I want to tell my own story of my faith. And he went into Benin and I think I can't think of the other country right now, but where he's from. So he went to the origin of voodoo. And I was like, this is apostolic church in this movie.
You, Kathryn, what you see in so many of our houses of worship, is alchemy.
We're just over here drinking grape juice.
They took it, they remixed it in order for it to pass muster with folks who had put us under the yoke of chattel enslavement.
Yes.
But they kept their African-based spirituality.
Yeah.
They just forgot to tell us, oh, by the way, here's the thing.
Yeah.
This is what we said. This is actually African-based. Don't go throwing your African and your ancestry and all of that. Don't go throwing those.
No. Yeah. So my aunt had me christened in the spiritualist church. Okay. So in that church where my family was, mediums, all of that was all in the mix because that was my aunt's practice. So my mom said she gave me to my aunt to walk me up to the altar, and the reverends were up there. And she was sitting in the back. And she said, all the objects in the church began to float while they were performing the ceremony. And she said she was so terrified, but she didn't move. So she just said she watched objects float.
This is your mom.
This is my mom. She didn't try to get me. And she just sat there frozen. I call my mom Chicken Little. She's just scared of everything. So
extremely cautious. She's extremely cautious. That's all.
My celebration is the return to myself, the return to who I was created to be, the continuing my great aunt's legacy. I had such a love for her as a child. So that was just big celebration. And, I lit an ancestor candle and I called for her assistance. And when I tell you, wind came through my space and that fire said, "Whoosh." I said, oh, I should have called you sooner because I really need this help.
I'm missing out on some of my power here. I noticed you have an altar downstairs in your wonderful space.
Yeah.
Will you share some of that with our viewers?
Yeah,
Is that shareable?
It's not very decorated. I need to do some work. I feel so bad. But yeah.
Because Ancestor Day is coming up.
I have my ancestor altar. I left a cup of coffee, and they left so many bubbles in the coffee. I was so excited. I haven't left food.
Okay.
It's probably bad of me, but I don't know. I do leave coffee. And I constantly, I wake up and I sit in that space. That's like the first space I go to after I feed the birds. So it's a very active space.
Yeah. Y'all, we're gonna go take a look at Kathryn's space.
I lit Maya's space for you since you were coming to Little Miss Gigi Queen.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Go to in Kathryn's beautiful. Kathryn, what do you call your space?
I just call it my Reiki room.
Reiki room.
So this is a space I created for
Everyone's welcome.
I especially created it for
Everyone's welcome.
Yes.
But the Queen Sisters are intentionally invited. I love that.
Yeah.